How to knit the ridged rib stitch. This is such a wonderful stitch, especially for beginners. And the reason why is it is interesting. It is reversible, so it's great for a blanket. Looks exactly the same on the back side as it does on the front. And it's very forgiving of a new knitter who whose tension may not be exactly perfect. So when you're knitting stockinette stitch, if you're a little looser on one row than another, it can sometimes show. And this is just so forgiving. So basically, if you've ever done a 1x1 rib, that is pretty much all it is, with just a little extra garter stitch in there. So it is just like a 1x1 rib where you knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl on the right side, flip it over, and you're purling in the purls, knitting in the knits on the wrong side. And then you do 2 rows of knit stitch. It is so easy. So let's get at it. Now, the ridged rib does require an odd number of stitches, and as well it does take 4 rows to complete, but it's so easy to remember. A beginner, you can remember how to do this without even having a row counter. If you do need a row counter, that's fine. As a beginner, I used a row counter quite heavily, and I actually still use it for a lot of projects. So, but you won't even need it, guaranteed. So you cast on an odd number of stitches, and then you start by doing knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way to the end. Very easy. Knit, purl, knit, purl. So it's just doing a 1x1 rib is all it is. Knit, purl, knit, purl. I'll just zip this down. Okay, getting near the end here, knit, purl, and because it does have an odd number of stitches, normally when you're doing the 1x1 rib, you might have an even number, and you would end on a purl, and then here's this extra stitch, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and the extra, and you just knit the extra. Just keep going, knit, purl. That's row 1. Row 2, my goodness, you're just continuing with the rib, and in the rib pattern, whatever is on this side, the wrong side, is what you knit. So you're seeing this row start with a purl, and it goes purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. So that's exactly what you do. You start by purl, knit, purl, knit, and you can see, right, wherever there's a knit, I'm knitting, wherever there's a purl, I'm purling, and it's starting to form those rows. So that's row 2. You're just doing the back side of a 1x1 rib, which is knitting exactly what you see. If you see a purl, you purl it. If you see a knit, you knit it. So it's purl, knit, till the end. Okay, I'm approaching the end. Purl and a knit, and then you just end on a purl. Just continue in pattern, purl, knit, purl, knit. There we go. And that is row 2. Now, row 3, get ready for it, folks. It's just knit. You just knit the entire row. That's it. Just knit all the way across for row 3. So go ahead and do that. Just knit right across. At the end of my row 3, and just knit all the stitches. Right, and row 4, you knit all the stitches. That's all you do. Knit all the stitches. Basically, it's doing garter stitch for 2 rows. So there's my 4th row. And you can see those are all purled, but I have to knit all of those. So I just move that behind, and I'm going to knit every single stitch on row 4. Getting near the end of row 4, 3 more to go. Just knit right to the end. And that is it. That is your ridged rib stitch. There's the wrong side. There's the right side. They look exactly the same. So simple. Row 1 and 2, you are doing a 1 by 1 rib, and row 3 and 4, you're just knitting both rows, in other words, a garter stitch. So simple and so easy for a beginner. Have fun!